Hey, Eric here from 5minuteinvesting.com, and today I want to cover your question on Quora. How much effort and money is needed to get started in option trading? And I think this is a great question because I truly believe that option investing has the ability to change one's life. And just a little bit background about myself. I've been investing for over 12 years now, and so far, the best strategy I've landed on is using options to invest in the stock market. So for the last 4 years, I'm able to generate 450% from the market, and my annualized return is around 55%. So this is why I want to share, and set your expectation on what is needed to get started, and how can you get started, and how can you get started as quickly as possible. So I'm going to cover 5 things mainly for you. And the first one is strategy. Second one is about confidence and success. And the third one is about opening an account, taxes. Fourth one is about capital. And the fifth one is about finding your first investment. Now, there are a lot of investing strategies out there. There are a ton of investing strategies, short term, medium term, long term. For myself, I'm a long term guy. So, the first thing you need to do is actually to decide who you want to be. How much time do you want to dedicate to option trading or investing? For myself, I have a full-time job. If you have a full-time job, then chances are you're going to be quite busy and you wouldn't have a lot of time to dedicate to option trading, but you can still reap the benefits of option trading. So let me explain what that means. If you're looking at a short to medium term trading strategy, expect to dedicate somewhere between 40 to 20 hours. Sometimes more, but 40 to 20 hours. So that's what day trading means. That's what short-term trading means when people are getting in and out and you're using short-term options. So it's quite manual. It's quite time intensive. It's quite energy draining. So that kind of approach does not really suit me. So instead, I focus on long-term options, which I spend around 5 minutes a day, 5 to 10 minutes a day, just looking at the markets and around an hour a week. Now, I guess the first question will be, how is it possible that, Eric here can spend 5 to 10 minutes a day on option investing when someone else is basically spending 40 hours? And I think it all comes down to automation, it all comes down to the mindset, it all comes down to the strategy. So the first thing you need to select is who you want to be. Now, afterwards, if you are just learning online, chances are you're Googling or something like how do you use options to make money, you're going to end up with a lot of strategies. So you need to test them. Unless you're following a coach, you need to test your strategy. So it might be good to just buy a testing software. It's usually $200-$300. And then it allows you to run through many strategies in a short amount of time. So you can probably just write a few lines of code and test a strategy with 10 years of data in a matter of minutes. So back in the day when I was still testing strategies, I would test 2-3 strategies a day. Easy. I would change the parameters. I would optimize the strategy to figure out whether it makes money or not. And the truth is, if you go online and you look around, you're going to find a lot of strategies that don't work. And that is the honest truth. A lot of strategies don't work. It might work in a very specific currency or stock, and if you apply it to another stock, it completely fails. So you need to test the strategies you find on the internet. The next one is confidence and probability of success. And this is really about, once you selected a strategy, what kind of probability are you looking at? Are you looking at a 50-50 with somehow a risk to reward ratio of 2-to-1, or you're looking at a strategy where you're 95% confident or sure you're going to win? That is going to lead to very different risk management approach. So I used to follow the 50-50 path, and it's very draining. It's very high volume. It's very tiring. And you're basically constantly placing trades. Kind of think of it like a casino where your chance of succeeding is 50-50, but one pays you more than the other, you're lost. Then you want to keep playing the game over and over again, and I wouldn't even sleep, and I would continue to trade because the strategy, the probability of success is only 50 and 50. But now I'm all the way on the other side where I only focus on investments where I'm 95% sure I'll win. So I make very, very few investments. I only invest 6 times a year, which is why I only spend 5 minutes a day. So that is a much more laid back, much more passive investing approach, and I make a higher return. I target around 30% a year. So that really comes back to number one, who do you want to be? So once you get the first two figured out, and this can range from learning a strategy from somebody, which can take around a month, to something like 8 years if you want to do it yourself. So for myself, it took me 8 years to finally land on this strategy where I'm making like a fantastic return with minimal effort. So once you got that, then you open an account. Now, a lot of people just go straight ahead and open an account without number one and number two. And that is where you get into a situation where you burnt yourself. Like people lose thousands of dollars in 2008. People lose thousands of dollars in some sort of penny stock. That's how you get all the horror stories, is if you ignore number one and two and go straight to number three. But most people go straight to number three. Is just what it is, because most people get an investing account without knowing how to invest. Now, when you open an account, the main consideration is the broker you're going to choose and taxes. Now, I go into much more detail in number three in terms of choosing a broker, but for now, let's focus on taxes. Now, depending on where you live, whether you're in Canada, whether you're in US, whether in Hong Kong or whatnot, there are probably some sort of retirement or tax advantage accounts that you want to use. Now, for Canada, let's say I would use that as an example, you probably want to start off with a TFSA account because you can put money in and you can take money out without getting taxed because you're using after-tax dollar. Now in US, that would be a Roth IRA account. So that's that. And in Australia, like those places, I'm not too familiar with the tax savings accounts there, but I don't think there is one. And in Hong Kong, there's no capital gain, so that's pretty straightforward. Now, for number 4, minimum capital versus ideal capital. Now, when you're investing using options, there's a minimum amount you need to invest in order to buy one option, because one option, one unit that you're purchasing is actually 100 options. It's not one option. When you're buying one unit, is 100 options. So the minimum amount of capital you need, my suggestion is $5,000. When I first started, I started with $3,000. Now, ideally, like if you want to be comfortable, like if you want to be a little bit more diverse, I would suggest you to have $10,000. That is what most of my students start with. If I had the money, I would have started with $10,000 because it allows you to invest in 3 to 4 companies, so then you can be a little more diverse. If you can only start with $5,000, then you only can choose 1 to 2 companies. So that means you need to be very, very accurate in terms of the company you choose. You need to be very, very confident in terms of the company you choose to invest in, and that goes back to number 2. You see how they're all connected? So minimum capital, 5,000, ideal capital, 10,000 or more. And right now my portfolio is well over 6 figures, so these still apply regardless of how much money you have. So the next one is finding your first investment. Now, once you have number 1, 2, 3, and 4, you're ready to find your first investment. And a lot of people just want to jump in and invest the next day. Like I know people that just funded their account on a Friday and they want to have their account fully invested on a Monday. So take a step back, slow down a little bit, because you need to wait. In order for you to invest successfully, you need to wait for a discount. You want to buy cheap, you want to buy low and sell high. It's a very straightforward principle, but it also means you can't just, fund your account today and invest tomorrow. You need to wait for an opportunity. You can think of yourself like an alligator. You can think of yourself like a sniper where you're waiting for an opportunity, waiting for a target to show up. And if you only have $5,000 or whatnot, then you can only invest in one company. So you need to be accurate, precise, and you need to get a discount. So that further protects your portfolio from large swings. So that is pretty much it. That is the key 5 consideration and in terms of option trading, how much effort it takes and how much money it takes. So my name is Eric Cito, and I do have a free webinar where I go into detail on how to invest in the market. So if you're on YouTube right now, you can go to the description, and the first link is how to get 30% from the market. It's quite a long webinar, and I go into a lot of detail in how to achieve that. Now, if afterwards you have a question about my program, you can schedule a one-on-one consultation with me for free. And then if you want to join the full program, Investing Accelerator, where I'll teach you step-by-step how to use stock options to get 30%, how to invest in the markets so then you can target 30% a year, then this program is definitely for you. So you can check that out in the YouTube description down below. So let me know if you have any questions. You can always leave a comment below and I'll try to answer it as soon as possible. So that's pretty much it, and good luck on your endeavor in options trading.